I'm Brett McPherson. I'm the director, editor, and sound effects coordinator for the film The Owner. My brother and I have an amazing relationship to where it's almost like he's one side of the brain and I'm the other. I'm the side of the brain that is just all creative and, oh, we could do this, we could do that, and we could have a body fly through space-time continuum. I'm just like, there are almost no bounds in my mind. Whereas Andrew's thinking a lot of the practical stuff. He's the guy who's like, okay, that's a great vision, but how can we make this happen in reality? So a lot of times our visions had to be scratched. Andrew and I, how we first started working together on this project was we wanted to come up with a vision, an idea, what we were going to do. What we thought was, what do we not want this film to be? What are a lot of student films that we don't want this to be? Well, a lot of student films are very melancholy, they're very either over-dramatic or just completely delving in deep, dark, depressing subjects. And then you look at that with the ambiguous ending going, okay, why am I supposed to be watching this again? You don't really know why. It's not even really that entertaining. We wanted this film to be entertaining and to have a good message behind it. So that's what Andrew and I started to get at, and we had to find a story idea where his effects could go to become a senior project, but where my senior project could also be shown as well. And so that's when we started coming up with the idea of, well, what if someone came from another planet? Andrew would be able to add some effects. Okay, let's play with that. And that's how The Owner was birthed.
Oh, this is legit. Alright. So, are we tasting or what?
Okay, so for it. I want this pause on camera. Oh, perfect. It resembles. I think she...
My name is Haley Bolt. I am the casting director for The Owner, and my job basically was to get the word out on The Owner production and get people really excited about it, and then host auditions. This was my first rodeo really for casting, so I wasn't quite sure who to get in contact with for actors. So we put the word out like on campus, but it wasn't really enough, and that's just something that I have to learn from. Like, thank the Lord that we did get really good actors, so we got really lucky for that. Joshua Seals, I Facebooked him and I was like, hey, you look the part, would you be interested in auditioning for The Owner? And he was like, yeah, okay. And he happened to fit the role correctly, so he was casted, and he was available, and so that's how we got some of the cast.
My name is Angie Sabini, and I was the production designer for The Owner. Pretty much I see the whole artistic design of the film. I oversee costumes, props, set dressing, makeup and hair, make sure everything is rented or bought and on set and in its perfect place. On the production design aspect, 2 shots were my favorite. The first one being the establishing shot that you see right at the beginning of Janet's bedroom, and it's one shot, just pans right around the room, and it was a fun set to dress because it was all sci-fi stuff. We had a moon that changed to the phases of the moon, which was pretty cool, and we had this huge alien and like all this Star Trek memorabilia with like guns and all this stuff, so that was a lot of fun to do. And then my other favorite would have to be the trench that the orb sphere thing makes when it falls into the ground. We ended up building it rather than digging, since we didn't want to dig in the location's backyard. So we bought like 4 bags of dirt and actually made a trench instead. And last minute we decided that we wanted embers in it, so we just started burning like paper towels and like newspapers right before shots and throwing it in, and it looked so cool, and there was like fire. It was awesome.
I'm Vincent Graziano, but my peers know me as Chenzi, and I was the producer on The Owner. Now, what producing entails is pretty much micromanaging and planning everything. So, from day one, which was 2 months before shooting dates, getting crew together, getting paperwork together, just kind of rounding up everybody and finding out what needed to be done for every department so that this movie could happen. My favorite shot on The Owner would have to be the crane shot that kind of came down on the crater and the embers flew up. Originally that was supposed to be a special effect, and our production design team was able to light some pieces of newspaper, and they kind of just flew up and burnt up, and it looks fabulous. I nicknamed that shot the fire fart, and it's the only shot I'll ever talk about on the film because it's my favorite one. I'm always like, hey, did you see that shot, or did you see the fire fart yet? So yeah, that's definitely my favorite shot.
No.
Sorry, Alex. Alex, I need quiet on the set.
I'm Josiah Blizzard. I'm the director of photography for The Owner, and the DP on set lights things and makes them look pretty and realistic and all that. So, and we're in charge of camera and that whole shindig. So, I think one of the best shots in the film is probably the opening shot where it's coming down the wall and you see the phone and then Dolly's back and you see the dishes and then you see Janet, and that was a hard shot, but that sets up the whole movie pretty much, like you're revealing okay, her parents are out of town, she's eating Chinese, she's pigging out, and then you see her sitting on the couch, and that's where the inciting incident is, where the meteor comes down, the sphere comes down and hits the earth. And just setting up that shot it was so important, it was so key to light that right and to just portray who Janet was at first. And I think that's one of the best shots in the film, and Nathan Stump did a great job cam-upping that and just shooting that well. And it's one of my favorite shots. It's really smooth and it looks great. Like the C100 that we shot on was just so sharp, and those Zeiss lenses we used were just so spectacular. I couldn't have asked for a better shot, so it was amazing. There's a good bit of difficulty with a lot of the shots. We had 60 shots to get done roughly in 3 days, and naturally there's going to be some very difficult shots in there as we start to combine shots and cut shots out, and we have to make up for those shots we cut out. So the opening shot was that dolly back revealing the dishes, and Janet we probably took, 15 takes, and it took forever, and I had Brett breathing down my neck, and Jordan, the first AD, breathing down my neck, and Andrew McPherson on me, and I'm like, I can't. Nathan, we need to speed this up, and again, it was such an important shot because it's the first time you see Janet, and it's the first time you're seeing, it's the opening of the movie, you have to do it well, but I don't think we scheduled enough time to actually take that shot. We had 15 minutes to take that shot, and then we did 15 takes or something like that, and there's no way it took a minute to take. And it was hard in the terms of in the sense of that we had this dolly back, and it was a curved track, and you had to grab focus at different points, and so just getting the movement right was so key and so difficult. And I don't blame Nathan, because I couldn't have done it better myself, but it was a very difficult shot. And then another shot that was very, very difficult was the shot where Gory is the mercenary is walking, and he's holding his gun, and he's starting to shoot. He says, "Hey friend," and he starts to shoot at the owner. And we were on an 85mm lens, which makes Gory look a little bit closer to us and distorts the background a little bit and looks really cool. And we were on that with the glide cam, and walking back while he is shooting, and we have to keep him in frame, and it's on a telephoto lens, is super difficult, because the longer the lens, the longer the focal length is, the shakier it's going to be. And so we were having such issues trying to get it to be steady, but we finally got it, and we probably did 8 or 9 takes of that, and it just took a really long time. But the shot looked really, really cool. So those 2 shots there were probably some of the hardest shots in the film.
My name's Chris. I'm the gaffer, the key grip, the weapons consultant / provider for this set. My role on set was making sure that the scene was lit. I was working right beneath Josiah on that. He's a great guy to work with. He's really straight up honest. And it wasn't hard to work with him. Like, I was running around trying to make sure the backyard was lit while we were inside, or the inside was lit while we were outside. And so we just kind of tag teamed gaffing. And it's kind of unorthodox doing that with the DP doing that, but we both tag teamed that. But doing that, I was also able to do key grip, which was because we didn't find anybody for that in time. And so because there's 5 sets filming all at the same time, so that's why we didn't find anybody. It was kind of like crazy just finding crew even for grips and electrics. So setting up stuff like the dolly or making sure that the silks are set up, that's what grips do. Electrics make sure the lights are up and they're running and they've got power to them. And I think the best shot that I have seen, like as far as seeing dailies afterwards, was the last shot, but I'm also a fan of the first shot, because in the first shot we set that up, like PD went in there and set the whole room up. We actually had never walked into the room except for once before, and I didn't know the shot was going to be in that room until Josiah told me what we were going to do, and I was like, okay. And I had 5 minutes to light it, and I lit it in 5 minutes, and walked downstairs, was like, take the camera up there, you're good to go, and he recorded it in like 3 minutes, and we were downstairs and like had wrapped that whole entire room, and it was done. Like, so that's like the most fun as far as setting up. The last shot's just really cool though. Sorry, not the last shot. It's the shot when the owner turns around, like after he picks up the sphere, and like actually sees her sitting at the car, like after like decides to go help her. That one shot's really gorgeous.
My name's Andrew McPherson. I am the special effects supervisor on set, and I'm also the special effects creator for the owner. What special effects supervisor means was, on set we actually shot everything, and it was my job to make sure that what we shot I was able to do special effects on. There were a couple times on set in particular where we changed up a little bit of a shot, or whether we moved from sticks to glide cam or something along those lines. And that was based on my requests on what we're going to be doing for special effects on the owner. As far as actually creating the special effects, doing a lot of work in After Effects, picked up some amazing plugins that allow me to do what I do best at an even higher level. And what we're looking at so far is pretty great. The effects on this project are pushing me to my limit at this point in time. Even today I've been working on some of the effects, and some of the stuff that we've been pulling off is pushing not only me to my limit, but my PC as well. It's such a challenge though. I look at it more as a growth opportunity than anything else. It's a chance to really see what I'm made of and what this project's really going to be, kind of a gauntlet, a galvanizing effect for it. So it's been fantastic so far. I'm looking forward to see where it's going. I would say one of the most challenging shots that we actually had to do was the reveal for the owner. It's one of the few times that we actually stuck our camera on a dolly as opposed to a glide cam, and the amount of special effects work that is required for it and the kind that it is really is pushing my ability to track things and camera inside After Effects to its limit. It's been fun though. We actually are near finalization on that shot. Looking good so far. If I had to say I had a favorite shot in this moment, the one that kind of gave me chill bumps actually was when the owner is looking down and then he looks up, back up, just off camera. And the way Joshua pulled that off, he did it with such authority and such emotion on it that it just gave us all chills when he pulled it off correctly. It looks great. When Brett and I first penned the owner, we wanted to set out and make something that was first and foremost entertaining. We'd seen a lot of movies, a lot of student projects that had come through the school that had been, very I don't want to say melodramatic, very dramatic and very dark in tone. And we wanted something that was going to be fun and entertaining, but at the same time, we wanted it to have a little bit of something extra to it, with a little bit of a message. There's some self-sacrifice themes in there that we hope comes across as very subtle and overt as a key part of the story, and not something to beat over the head with it. So if there's two things that I would want you to walk away with on The Owner, it would be that you were entertained and that you got a little bit of a message out of it.